Late last week, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson signed into law the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, the same bill we were talking about just moments ago that was in South Dakota that died today, did not make it across the finish line. Well, he made his state the third in the nation, second this year, to approve legislation designed to keep girls in women's sports limited to biological females. On Friday, Tennessee became the fourth state with a similar bill, a little different, but similar. With me now to talk about the efforts to defend female sports is the lead sponsor of Arkansas's Fairness in Women's Sports Act, State Senator Missy Irvin. Senator, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure and an honor.
Well, thank you. You joined a host of other Republicans, and I think at least 20 state legislatures have been working on similar legislation this year. What was the driving force for you? Why did you see this as so important?
You know, I come from a very small town in Arkansas, and my little girls, and they wanted to play soccer so badly. And so I fought really, really hard, as well as a whole group of young ladies. They wanted to play soccer for their school, and they didn't have the ability to do that. And so I raised money. I volunteered to be a high school girls soccer coach, and I coached those young ladies and went before the school board, went before the school administration, and fought hard just so that they would have the opportunity to play the sport that they grew up playing and that they loved for their high school. So I know firsthand how hard it is, even today, 50 years after Title IX has passed, for young ladies to have that equal athletic opportunity and equal athletic competition ability, and then also to work to fulfill their goals and their dreams and to earn scholarships at the next level. And so I witnessed it, and felt it firsthand, because they had to fight hard just to get that equal access to the playing field. And
Right.
So when I saw what had happened in Connecticut to those two young girls that were the track athletes who had worked their entire lives, and I have daughters that ran track and competed in pole vaulting and different track events, as well as soccer and golf. It really bothers me so much that men, specifically men, were really trying to work to dismantle girls' sports and were seeking the ability to have an unfair advantage and win those titles and those spots on the podium, and that's not right.
I think, I know, based on polling, that the majority of Americans agree with you on that. The governor of South Dakota, as we just talked about, there was a similar bill there. She essentially let it die today. And one of the concerns that she expressed was that it would open the state up to immediate litigation that they were most certain to lose. Is that a concern that you have in Arkansas?
No, I think you saw strongly that the majority of our Arkansas legislature in the House and in the Senate, and then that, of course, was backed up by the governor who signed our bill. There was huge, broad support for this legislation. And the people of the state of Arkansas have to have a voice. And like you said, the majority of Arkansans supported this policy and this legislation. And they are willing to go to battle for what their voice is and for what they stand for. Mm-hmm. And that's what we should be doing in America. We cannot roll over and just let people threaten us to be silent, threaten us to not stand up for what we believe in, threaten us to not take a stand for something that we all know is the right common sense policy in order to protect girls' opportunities when it comes to athletic events. And so, it's unfortunate. I think that was a bad decision, unfortunately, for the governor of South Dakota not to work with her legislature and support those efforts by those lawmakers, because clearly these young girls should have the ability to bring about a defense for a wrong which has occurred to them.
Yeah. Well, Missy, I can just say this. I'm glad you have a seat there in the Arkansas State Senate, because clearly you're not going to be silent on these issues that are, as you said, common sense issues. One final question for you. The NCAA leaning heavily on the South Dakota governor, encouraging her to move away from this bill. Has there been any threats from the NCAA of boycotting Arkansas?
Not to me. Not to me, and not that I'm aware of. And I honestly, I'm not sure if they've seen. I have not personally seen anything publicly that they have stated or put forward. Yeah. And so I will say that the state of Mississippi is strong in the SEC, as is the state of Arkansas. Arkansas is competing tonight in the Elite Eight. Go Arkansas Razorbacks. I hope they win and beat Baylor Bears. But, we are a strong SEC, NCAA state, as is the state of Mississippi, when you have Ole Miss and Mississippi State and many other colleges there that compete at high levels in the SEC. So that's a little remarkable to me, actually. And I actually haven't seen anything from the NCAA. And in fact, our Arkansas Activities Association, which is our state organization, they thanked us for the bill. They supported my bill.